Welcome. All right.
With the sultry entries.
Well, it wasn't as sultry as our rehearsals. You know, that was more like, welcome
Too much.
Too much.
to Through the Looking Glass. All right, so this is our first episode. It's probably going to look a little wild, a little crazy. That's a good thing. That's also a bad thing, but it's more of a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to have something to look back on.
Memories.
So who wants to start with the introduction?
Well, hello, welcome. First episode of Through the Looking Glass podcast, where some individuals local to our area are decided to get around and start talking about important conversations that our culture desperately needs to have.
Yeah.
And
We also wanna
we're ready for a wild ride. We hope you are too. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you find us. Please get us out there. Help us share the word. We want people to be engaged. We want people to come on, have conversations.
We'll have all the links up in the bio here.
Yep. You can find us on Facebook through the Looking Glass Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We have them all set. We're just ready to start getting things going. So welcome, and hope you enjoy.
People have asked, what's your main topic going to be? And we've, kind of decided that, there's so many topics, so many things that are constantly happening in today's society that it's going to be hard to stick to one thing. As much as we don't want to stick to politics, sadly, there's probably going to be a lot of politics because everything seems to be political nowadays.
Yep.
But, there's going to be a lot of fun episodes, too, where we just dig through and find fun stories to talk about or something to keep it light so it's not always so heavy.
Like
try to
the
keep a good
fairies
balance.
in the other realms and the Nephilim and all this
all
crazy stuff.
All those fun stuff,
Anything cultural, politics, anything to do with American culture, maybe
Science.
even not even American culture, science, outer
Science,
space.
the corporate world.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How we all here's a quick funny story before we even get into the personal introductions. The last time I really saw and talked to Russ before one time picking up food, he was actually supposed to fire me. We were working at Domino's. The owners told him because I refused to shave that he had to fire me. So luckily he didn't have to. I ended up quitting midway through the shift, so he didn't have to do it. But
we did try to help you out to get some kind of like religious exemptment, but
yeah,
that just doesn't work out.
The owner. The thing is, 10 years ago that was hard. Today that would probably be easier because of acceptance.
Anybody can have anybody can have a beard, whatever you want now. Like, it really is diversity and things like that. I totally understand, and I've never understood. I've been a huge proponent for like the workplace doesn't reflect on my personal life.
Yep.
Like, if I want to have tattoos and piercings, that doesn't affect how good of a worker I am. So,
Well, a lot of times people with tattoos and piercings are like the nicest people I've came across.
yeah, they can be. Until
Well-
you start asking too many questions about their tattoos, and it's like, oh, stop.
That does have to be annoying for him, though. I mean,
Yeah.
but at the same time, to play devil's advocate here, it's like you got to kind of expect people are going to ask you about your tattoos when they see tattoos on you. They're going to want to know the meaning, why you got it. Why is it significant?
Yeah, you can't have the Mona Lisa up in your living room and not have people ask questions.
Right.
You
Especially
know.
if it's the original. They're going to
They're going to
where
ask a
you
lot
got
of
it.
questions. So you start off with your introduction.
Welcome.
God.
Sorry, these guys hate that, so like they don't like
gotta do it.
They
I
don't
don't like
the
it.
sultry the talks. So, I am Adam. It's good to meet you guys. This isn't my first time being on camera on YouTube. I did have an old YouTube channel where I spoke mainly of my psychedelic experiences. Not that it's something to be proud about, but I guess that would be one of my best topics where I have the most knowledge.
I don't see why you won't be proud of that.
I guess just because it ties into
It's too taboo.
it's very taboo, and it's
And a lot of people don't accept it the way they should
Yeah.
be. And it's not that they should, it's just there's got to be more understanding with psychedelics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Which is-
benefits to it.
I
Which
mean, a
is
lot of world governments have been doing plenty of experimentation with it. So there's a lot of information out
That's
there.
actually one of my ideas with this podcast. Is one of the things I would like to do is start a side project where I'm talking to people about their psychedelic experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly. But anyways, outside of me being Adam and liking the psychedelic experience, I'm 33 years old. I deliver pizza for Domino's at the moment.
I'm gonna say, what is this, Bumble? We doing speed dating now?
I don't know. I'm kind of an awkward guy when it comes to introducing myself. So I'm just being that awkward guy on camera, introducing myself. So, I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. Now I deliver pizza. It actually pays kind of well. It's the idea of, work smarter, not harder. Like, I'm making $30 to $35 an hour doing such. So it's like, until I find something better, why would I leave? But, as Russ said too, I don't want to do that the rest of my life. It's decent money for now, but it's like I want to expand on things. And one of the things I've loved doing over the last decade, and I wish I had cameras rolling for some of these, like, was just having conversations with people. Like, some of the things I've talked about with people over the last decade are really kind of mind-blowing things. Crazy life revelations and things we've learned, gained a lot of wisdom from talking with people. I used to have these things with my friends that I called burn and learns. Come over.
Oh my God. I almost
Come
forgot
over.
about
We're going
those.
to burn some weed and we're going to learn some shit. Going to have some
Okay.
burn and learns.
Yeah, we used to do that quite a bit, especially in
That's
the
kinda
basement
cool.
there. Yeah.
You just like pick a topic and then start
Just
digging
kind of
in?
random. We would just smoke and start talking about shit that we were learning about, or
Well, a couple of our younger friends were very interested in our psychedelic experiences.
That's cool.
They would like
that
stay
was
in tune and listen to it a lot.
that was actually strangely one of the big ones, which is also why I'd like to make that side channel talking about psychedelics again, because that was one of the big things people were sitting down and listening to me talk about was, oh, well, let me hear about your experiences. I've heard nothing but bad things about mushrooms and DMT and LSD and all these things. So let me actually hear some good experiences. And, a couple people who, when I first started doing these compounds, were like, oh, you're going to lose your mind.
Here we are 10 years later.
Here we are 10 years later, and now those same people have gone on their own journeys because they listened to some of my experiences and decided, wow, I would really like to experience such an experience myself.
Well, the other thing, too, a lot of these people, just on a side note, a lot of these people tend to do psychedelics at parties. That's not a proper place to do it. You're going to have a bad time.
For sure.
You should take accountability of your environment and make sure your setting inside and outside is proper for your experience, and go with the experience with a friend. Don't be alone. You should really have somebody by your side.
Exactly, like a wise lizard on acid once said, not my chair, not my problem.
Yeah. Russ doesn't know what to say.
No, that's that's Johnny Depp, is it not?
I don't
That
remember.
was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, was it not?
Nah, this came from, I think, an animation.
Oh, I feel like
animation with a
that's
little lizard
something that
guy.
was definitely in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas when Johnny Depp started seeing lizard people. I just have this burning sensation. I'm gonna have to find out. But hello, I'm Russell. Just 35-year-old average guy who really didn't get to accomplish a lot of stuff in my life that I wanted to. A lot of things kicked me down. Tried to pick myself back up, and been noticing a lot of things in our political landscape and our culture and our country, and it has a lot of concerns. After having a couple of kids, life changed a little bit, and I've been noticing some things, maybe became a little bit more conservative than I used to be, and I'm perfectly fine with that, whatever that may mean to people. And I just, like Adam said, I don't want to do what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I want to do something more. I want to have an impact on the world if I can, at least by speaking with people, maybe learning things, seeing their points of views, just gaining more knowledge, and hopefully trying to fix the broken system that we have, if not just shed light on the parts that are broken.
Understanding other people's points of view, I like that, because I think that's a very important thing in today's society. It's like people don't want to understand other people's views. They just want to be right.
Yeah, if you just skate through life with blinders on, then you're missing so much of the world.
Well, that's what the ego does to you.
Yeah. And like my life, of course, I've only lived my life. So I only have my point of view. I have no idea what you've gone through, what Adam's gone through, or anybody else. For all I know, the way that I perceive reality is completely different from the way you do. Like, I see what I understand as humans, whereas, I don't know, in your brain, I could be a fucking talking seahorse right now. I don't know. You know, it could be completely different. But unless you talk to people and figure out what they've been through, how they perceive the world, you're never really going to understand humans.
You know?
Which is another reason for this podcast, because I just love talking to people, hearing their points of view, asking them questions to see if that's really how they view things. I mean, you've met Amjad. He'll be on this podcast eventually.
He is wonderful.
Brilliant person, but he's, over the last couple years, he's somebody that's made me really question my points of view and helped me come to conclusions in my mind how I really feel about certain things. Because I guess you don't really know until you start to question those things and really think about it.
And not even just question, but listen to those people. Like, really hear what they're trying to say.
People call them either your default of something, where you just hear something, you hear an idea, and you say, oh, I like that. And then you just say, I'm that. Instead of digging into, say, the issue that you're thinking about or lining up with, and seeing if that's truly where you lie. Because a lot of people, if you do talk to them about certain topics, certain subjects, and you say, well, what about this aspect of it, or this, or this, or this, or this, you'll see a little glimmer in their eyes where they're like, I don't think like that at all, actually.
Yeah. Well, things can change over time, especially when you come to further understand whatever topic that is.
Sure. And your introduction.
Oh, boy. So I'm Erica, born and raised in New York. I'm just here with my husband and our good friend Russ doing this podcast. I just want to come out here and talk about a few things in society, like they said. You guys pretty much said it all for me in a sense. But, yeah, I'm just really excited to have guests on and just really explore the world some more.
For sure. Definitely explore. I want to get out in New York a little bit and see different parts of the country and see what other people around the world are doing.
Man, I had a thought the other day, and this actually came from watching some clips from Wild Ride with Steve-O. Getting a camper and turning the camper into a mobile podcast studio.
It's been done.
Yes,
you can get a strong enough satellite dish to actually make it work.
Where we could drive around, and instead of people coming to us, we just go to them.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be really freaking awesome.
I mean,
On one of the shows that I watch, the podcasts that I watch, I'm not going to, shout out names, try to let people stay anonymous, but they have a mobile camper too, and they drove it down to Texas. They're going to be driving it down to Florida here shortly, and
cool.
it's dope. On one episode, they drove to Texas. They had Blair White, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, all in one camper.
That sounds like a wild episode.
Was wild, and I think Michael Malice was there too.
Holy smokes, man!
It was a good show. It was a good show.
That's pretty exciting.
I mean, they were right in Texas, and they're all right in Texas, so it was like, well, sure, we'll all meet up.
Well, that's badass.
It was dope.
Give me some wild shit to listen to. That sounds like a good one.
I mean, if you want to listen to wild shit, just tune into Alex Jones. I mean, he's bonkers.
Yeah,
I love the dude though.
He has been right about a lot of things.
Well,
yeah,
he has.
In recent years, I think he's gotten a little too much into his character.
Yeah, for sure. It is a character for sure.
I get it. And people that want to throw the word crazy at Alex Jones, and I'm not a fan of the word crazy because it's used to immediately dismiss people, and we use it to tag to things we don't fully understand.
It's like a form of discrediting somebody's credibility. Yeah.
Think of it like this. If you're someone like Alex Jones, who for the last 30 years of his life has been trying to figure out exactly how the government and these big corporations and the people behind the curtain have all been fucking over regular citizens and all the dirty shit they've been doing. Don't you think you'd go a little crazy trying to figure all that out too?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Exposing.
absolutely.
Just think of how it's also been portrayed in our media. Like every movie or TV show where you see the conspiracy theorist, he's a nut job.
Yeah.
They do that on purpose.
Well,
Because
don't get me wrong though. Some of them are nut jobs.
Oh, for sure. Like straight tinfoil hat guys. I believe most of them are probably FBI agents that just make people look worse than they
Yeah,
are.
the most sane conspiracy theory, and anyone that comes at me with this one, I immediately think they're sound of mind. I'm like, yes, they get it. Birds are not real.
I was just gonna mention that one. Stop.
Birds are
They're
real, bro.
Stop.
Birds aren't real.
Give 'em-
Birds are real.
Birds aren't real.
They. Oh my goodness, no.
They're definitely real.
No.
Birds are definitely. Oh, so actually tell us about the couple of people that we're going to have on our next episode.
Well, this is a big hopeful. I won't even throw names out there yet, but hopefully in our next episode, we're going to be having some local guys on that have been. Last year was their first time. They ran a film festival. I was in a small scene of one of their movies.
He got shot.
And they're running it again this year. I'll throw the name out there because I definitely want to advertise for them. It's the Wicked Realm Film Festival. It's going to be in Breezeport, New York, every Friday during October at the L. And last year it was just some local movies that those guys did, and it's quite amazing this year that they've got entries from all over the world.
yeah, I
like,
think that's
all over
amazing.
the world?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
One of their entries is from like Iran or Iraq. Yeah.
What?
That's why
I didn't know.
That's why I want to talk to him, man. It's because it's not like I helped them out with it last year, but seeing just last year compared to this year, how last year it was just their local films that they made and played the same movies every night, to where this year they've got so many movies, it's different movies every single Friday.
And what was the name of it again?
The Wicked Realm Film Festival.
They got social medias?
Yes.
Yeah, they usually pass out flyers around the.
Okay. Is it just Wicked Film Festival?
Wicked Realm.
Wicked Realm Film Festival
I
on
think
Facebook,
you might
on
have to
YouTube?
go. You might have to go to their Gangster Octopus page because that's like their film.
I
thing.
love it.
Yeah, Gangster
I love it.
Octopus.
I'm just
You would
I
actually
see
really,
an octopus with a bunch of Glocks.
you would actually really enjoy it. We're taking off Friday the 13th to go watch the films.
Yeah, so these.
Oh, that's right. There's a Friday the 13th
Yes.
in October this
Yes.
year.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we took off to go to the film.
I'd love
festival
it
for
if you
that
were
one.
able to go. I think you would find
I
it
could
fun.
definitely get off. That reminds me, I have to get off the next couple days. Not next couple days, but yeah.
Because
But,
they one of the scenes was filmed in our house upstairs in the hallway.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they also do a thing called no soliciting, because they were both Kirby salesmen.
Was that the? I think
not-
that was a short video that Jesse showed me,
Probably.
where the beef ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
I was the one.
hysterical.
I was the voice interviewing them for that.
That was
for that
hysterical.
skit. Yeah, those guys are very creative, and I really hope we can get them on before next Friday. So
Moran Phoebe. Why Moran?
no,
Phoebe? Oh, it's beef
Neymar feed.
Phoebe. Yeah, that was good. And so they've been making films for a couple of years now, doing all that kind of jazz.
They have.
Well, he also did a stone balancing thing up at his CBD shop too.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Okay.
do like a bunch of stuff.
Oh, timer already? Intermission.
Pause.
Intermission. Do. Oh,
Is that
let
my
me
phone? That's a
check.
weird ass sound that I have on there.
That should still be going.
This one should be still.
they should all still be going.
This one is still
Are you
blinking.
ready? You ready? Did I restart this one yet? No, I didn't. Ready?
Yeah,
Ready?
I'm good.
We'll do another 3, 2, 1 clap. And 3, 2, 1 clap.
We're getting good at that.
So in the future, we're going to try to, obviously when we got guests and everything, we've got 2 cameras that only got a 20-minute recording limit. We're going to try to bypass that. Figure out, tell you guys what's going on. It's like a fun journey. You guys get to watch us grow and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So hopefully when we have guests on, we can keep the conversation going while I just get up and restart the cameras.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
And I should have almost no issue when recording finding the area where they're talking. Because even though we didn't have claps that first trial run, I was able
Yeah.
to match it up. So
And if everybody can notice, we've done all the painting and small decorations that we have right now in here. We've done it ourselves. This is an awesome blue. It looks fantastic. We still have a bunch to do. We did run low on funding, but we're working through it as time goes. We want to get a bunch of decorations up on the wall. We're going to have a TV monitor connected directly to a computer. So if
Definitely.
we're talking about hot topics, we will be able to instantly go onto Google, DuckDuckGo, find sources for what we're talking about, fact check ourselves on the fly.
hopefully get some new cameras that have more than a 20, 30-minute recording
Oh,
limit.
do you want to shout out that company? Just give them a little bit of free advertisement because it is a pretty good camcorder.
Which company you talking about? Sony?
Oh, this one?
whatever that.
Yeah. So we just got the Sony. It's like a HDX 405 or something like that.
Yeah,
And
solid little camcorder.
It's a solid little camcorder for just above $200. Another company I want to shout out here on our first episode. And I hope we're allowed to shout companies out. I don't see why not. It's a free advertisement. Mayano. These are the microphones we have. The Mayano
Yes.
PDX 200s. These things for $67 or maybe a little less than that. Or if you want the white one, it was like $72. They sound amazing for the price.
Crispy.
Perfect.
And if you're not plugged in through a mixer board and you just plug right into your, USB-C port or USB port in your laptop, there's some lights that come on here. So sadly,
We'll get it figured out someday.
Yeah, sadly the lights aren't coming on through here right now.
We'll be able to.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know they had lights.
Yeah, they light up with RGB around them if you plug right into like a laptop.
Oh,
Yeah, because
that's cool.
when I plugged it in straight through the USB on the laptop, it lit up. So it's pretty cool for that.
Awesome. Dope.
Right, so we got intro in. We got introductions. Talked a little bit about what we plan on doing. So a lot of what we're going to be doing with this, at least my personal plans for this, to get more involved in the community. I particularly myself has started attending town meetings, councilman meetings. I plan on going to some school board meetings because there are concerns that I have with some literature in schools.
We've got an insider in the school system now.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Well,
Got a friend working up in the Corning School District.
you shouldn't.
And
Don't
you-
give sources out.
You just
I'm
met
not
him
saying,
too.
I'm not saying who. I'm just saying what school district.
Right, but
Nothing wrong with that.
keep any kind of details as low as possible. We don't want to risk anybody's livelihood, any kind
Man,
of
that's a
liability.
lot of people in a big school district. They'd have to find out just for
Yeah.
that.
But you never know.
Yeah, people are smart. Some of
Those
them.
are some of the missions that I plan on doing, getting more involved in local community. And that's one of the purposes that I see of this podcast is to have more local people see what's going on in our local communities, to see kind of events that are happening,
Ooh,
shout out
and
different things.
Another thing is to help promote local businesses,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
if
Local
especially if we
businesses for
got
sure.
especially if we got local small businesses that advertise online, where anybody over the world can go to their shop and buy from their shop. Helping out the local community is always a big thing, and I feel like there's something with Elmira where it needs a sense of community, man. I feel
It-
like it really does.
You
Well-
know, the thing is, it's not just Elmira.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more than just here. I'm sure you're right that a lot of people all over the place in smaller towns like this can probably even say, yeah, the community, the sense of community compared to what it was 20 years ago is just
It's lost.
lost.
It
It's
died
different.
with social media.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big disconnect with people now. Like nobody
But
talks
this
to
is
each other.
this is the opportunity, is we can, since the town square is no longer in the town square, it's now a digital town square.
Yeah.
We can still have a local digital town square. Everybody goes to the water cooler, as they used to call it, or you watch your local news station. It's been coming out that a lot of that stuff isn't so reliable because of who owns them.
Oh.
Like, who owns your local news station? you should really find out who owns your local news station.
Well,
'cause
there's
I
only
guarantee
there's
it's
only
not somebody local.
There's only 6 families or 6 corporations that own all the news media in America. So even the smaller ones, they're parent companies for these smaller ones like our local news. Another big thing, there's actually quite a bit of musical talent here in Elmira. And I'd love to get some musical guests on the podcast to share their story, their music, get their music out.
Same with
one of our,
artists.
one of our coworkers, her daughter, fantastic singer, and she was actually on America's Got Talent and nearly won. And
Oh, Erica?
Yeah, fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic singer. Yeah, of course. There's always going to be talented guitarists or music writers or anything like that in any town. It's just a lot of people don't get the opportunity. But this will be it. As
Well-
long as they're willing to have conversations and keep a cool head with topics that we talk about.
I mean,
Welcome.
even if we just have them on to talk specifically about their music, not even to get into anything serious. That way we can keep a balance of some days are serious, some are light, you know?
Well, you don't want to be too serious. Seriousness is illness.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of look at myself as a jester sometimes. Like I'm serious, but I'm not serious.
Well, don't
And
forget,
and you're never going to be able to tell.
we could also support local artists like myself who do painting works and other
sure.
arts and crafts. I think that would be amazing to, talk about on here.
Speaking of, I can't remember the source right now, but you guys have noticed there's art projects that go on around town where they do the large murals.
Yeah, I
yeah.
love
When
that.
I went to one of the council meetings here in Elmira. I said Elmira. When I went to one of the,
Are we not supposed to say our hometown?
it's probably best if
It's
we
safety.
don't at first. But I mean, people are going to figure it out. It's just one of those things where it's probably best if we don't say the absolute town or
That's why I
we
said
say
New
local
York.
areas. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want people
that's
to
my
know.
fault. Something I'm gonna have to learn. Edit that.
Edit that.
No edits.
There
Bleep
is
it
a
out.
local project. I'm gonna have to get the name and have it ready for the next time that we shoot. But when I went to one of the council meetings, they had one of the lift arms there, and a couple of artists were there starting to work on one of the murals. And I guess it's actually a project of the town itself. They have funding to beautify our town,
Thank
and
God.
it's really awesome. They have like their own page, and they have their own webpage, their own social medias, and things. I think things like that, a lot of people just aren't aware of.
Speaking of beautifying the town, do you think our town needs another statue that squirts water?
No.
My thoughts exactly. That's one of the proposals is that instead of a splash pad, now they're in downtown, they're just going to put up a fountain that squirts water to honor Mark Twain, but people can't get in the fountain.
So
That's so.
one of the statues, so at the city town meeting, thankfully they shot it down. We had a photo of one of the statues that they were proposing for Mark Twain. It was the ugliest thing I've ever. I don't understand it. It's like modern deco ridiculousness. It was just like a metal tree with books balancing on prongs. It
Well,
didn't make any sense.
I'm not going to lie, I like things that balance.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yes.
Yeah.
I like balancing things sometimes too. But just a solid steel statue that is a barren tree with books on it. Like, I kind of get it, but we have so much dedicated to Mark Twain. We have one statue of Ernie Davis. We have nothing for Tommy Hilfiger.
No.
And we have absolutely nothing for Eileen Collins.
what
Why
about-
don't we have a statue for the first woman astronaut pilot? The first. We have nothing for her. Why?
Because it might cause controversy.
I don't care.
People saying space ain't real, man. Space ain't real.
Oh
Yeah,
my
people
God.
just
I can't do it. No.
Hey, look, I will stay open to that theory until the day I die, but I don't know if I will ever be convinced without proper evidence.
I will never be convinced we're on a flat Earth. I want to see all the evidence.
I
of
have a
this.
hard time.
I mean, I would have
a
to
hard
go
time.
in space to truly. It's
Yeah,
like
I have
I
a hard
want
time
to believe in
believing.
outer space, but there have been a lot of debunkers that have like put out solid evidence that suggests that outer
My
space
issue is
fake.
I have a hard time
Wow.
believing anything. I need to know.
I that's what I'm saying.
I need to know. So it's like I don't believe there is or isn't space. As of right now, I like to think I know that there is from what I've been taught, but I will always stay open to maybe there isn't, because if I'm actually shown something that can sway me or that is proof, I'm obviously open to changing my mind.
My two factors is if there was no space, explain the comet a couple years ago. Also, if there was no space, explain aliens. Where the frick are they coming from?
I've literally seen a meteorite
guys.
in midday. I was like 13 years old at a baseball game, and everybody thought I was fucking crazy because I was like, "Oh my god, what was that?" The big flying flaming ball through the fucking air, and of course, I'm the only asshole that sees it.
I'm the only.
Nobody else sees this thing fly through the air in the direction over here, and apparently
That
it landed
definitely
somewhere.
makes you an asshole.
Apparently it landed somewhere in Maryland because like it was like a minute or two after I saw it, you heard like a
Boom.
and everyone was like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that?" I was like, "That was probably the fucking thing I thought I saw." What do you think it was? So,
Yeah.
if there's no space, then where the hell did that come from?
That's what I'm saying.
If there's a firmament, where did that come from? If there's a firmament, why were our ancestors so concerned with watching the sky and taking precaution from things possibly falling from the sky?
Yeah.
And-
Almost every ancient civilization has mapped our star system.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very hard to like grasp any kind of it's hard to grasp the idea that we are in infinite nothingness forever and ever, and we're simply on a small blue ball. That's terrifying, for one.
But there's no way we're the only ones existing. There's
Okay,
no
so-
way.
For sure.
So I proposed this question on Facebook last week. What's scarier? The thought that we're alone or the thought that we're not alone?
What's scarier? Probably the thought of being alone.
Yeah, being alone.
Same. I'm going to agree. And my reason behind why that is scarier is because if we fuck up and we destroy ourselves, then there is nothing else out there, and we ruined the chance for a advanced civilization to live amongst the stars.
Yeah, definitely. And if we were to have a nuclear war,
Maybe.
wiped ourselves out,
But
there goes
there's
the end of that.
I believe it's the Fermi's paradox, where we might not have been the first. We might not be the only ones in it right now. But I believe, if I've got the paradox correctly, Fermi's paradox is where living organism civilization either it destroys itself before it can make it to that point. Something happens.
I thought the Fermi paradox was trying to figure out why in such a vast, unlimited universe there's no sign of any other intelligent life. And part of that argued that it's possible that intelligent life has actually evolved outside of space-time. That's
Yeah.
one of the things on it. One of the others was
Then I might have the wrong
no,
paradox.
you are correct that is one of the answers to the Fermi paradox. That
Yes,
it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
possible that we get to this point in civilization and destroy ourselves, and
Which-
we can't seem to.
I mean, I'm
break
starting
past
to
that
fall
ceiling.
onto that because look at what's happening.
All right, so here's a wild question. What if our whole universe is the size of one of those grains of sand
That's how I
in
feel
the
it is.
hourglass?
Could be.
I feel like space.
Do you remember?
Possible.
Do you remember the ending of the first Men in Black movie,
Yes.
I do.
We just
The
recently
marbles,
watched it. Yeah.
where our galaxy or our universe is simply one of many, which absolutely, completely possible.
No, definitely.
Very possible it could be something like that.
It's even possible aliens are living among us and we just don't know it.
For sure.
Oh,
Just
they
like
hear.
Men in Black,
Yeah.
it might be that.
They hear.
It might be that thing where we
Oh, I
are
know they
just
are.
we're not to that point yet.
Tim Tebow, man. Tim Tebow's an alien.
But I think
Nobody's that nice. No human is.
Star Trek covered this as well, that Earth civilization was being watched by the Spock's race, the Vulcans. Before we reached space, they were watching us for like centuries beforehand, waiting for us to make that leap. And then when Earthlings did, they were introduced into the galactic marketplace. And
That's
they
interesting.
were told, hey, now that you're here, welcome. It might be one of those things where it could be that more advanced civilizations have some kind of a treaty or a pact, much like we do. It's non-intervention. listen, if they destroy themselves, they destroy themselves. If we try to give them a hand and speed up their evolution or bring them into something that they're not ready to, they could destroy all of us.
But see, I think somehow that's what happened. Look at how quickly our technology fucking jumped from World War II to now. Think just 10 years ago, we didn't have, or just 12 years ago, like we didn't have smartphones. I went to Iraq. There was no smartphones. I came back, there was Androids. That was kind of weird. My buddy got an Android, and I'm like, what is that? He's like, it's my new phone. I'm like, where's
Wow.
the button?
Well, how do you use this?
Just
What the fuck is this, man?
well, just think about the 1950s, right? In the late 1940s, 1950s, the first kind of vacuum tube technology and like old computers from the 70s. If you look at photos from old like computers,
Old computers used to take up a
computer
whole
would take
room.
up the entire room,
Yeah.
but now we have a computer like microscopic.
In
got
our
this.
phones.
Yeah, so
So there was an
our
ad.
technology advances so quickly, but I think my idea behind that is that we've actually been lied to about how quickly our. I've been seeing a lot of things online, and I haven't decided to dive into it yet.
No, you should.
But about free energy from like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Are you talking about Nicole Tesla?
Nikola Tesla in the late
So,
1900s.
I think what
Because
it
that
early
was in the Flower of Light
1920s,
book.
and with how oil took over kind of like the horse and buggy, and that kind of led us into World War I, World War II.
Well, there's a
where
lot of
that
suppressed
information might have
technology.
been suppressed.
My grandfather was telling my dad how the spies in World War II had little cameras like this big. And when my dad showed me, he's like, they're exactly the way my
GoPros.
He said the way his father described it is exactly like the GoPros are now. This was World War II.
I think they've had technology a lot longer than we can even understand.
It's
at least
very
possible.
At least with certain
They're,
things.
they're
Well, what are they
very
called?
much more advanced.
Yeah.
DEWs, direct energy weapons. The United States military has had direct energy weapons for at least a decade.
Jeez.
It's one of those things that
Mm-hmm.
people don't talk about, but
We've
we've had it. Like,
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube and look up videos of United States testing lasers and rail guns. Like, the shit is real. Rail guns are basically superpowered magnets that will take a projectile, and the negative forces of the magnet are kind of forced outward just slightly, and it's magnet, and it'll just be two rails with like hundreds of magnets, and the projectile, nothing is used, no kind of propellant. It just
Oh,
propelled by magnetic force.
oh,
It's nearly silent. There's no combustion. It uses no resource, and you could just instant.
were they going to use that for trains? I
yeah,
that
like
almost sounded
mag rails.
Yeah,
Mag rail
okay,
chains. Yep,
okay.
yep.
That's interesting. That's really cool.
Magnetic force. Yeah.
Wow.
And you sound as a weapon too. LRADs,
Yeah.
long range acoustic devices. That's how they break up certain riots or protests, and those things get fucking loud. I've never been in the way of one, but
I mean,
from the
just-
looks of it, it doesn't look fun being in
What kind of sound do they use?
it can be
So
very
is it
high
like-
pitched, or and you can only hear it if you're like,
Direct in it?
Is it
In it.
concussive or is it pure sound wave?
it's supposed to be pure sound wave from my understanding.
Because
Again,
I know
this might
from
have to be something we have to
concussive
look
force
into.
from sound. Concussive force can like burst eardrums. You bleed out of your
Jeez.
eyes. Kind of.
I
It's
just-
kind of nutty with concussive.
I just know the decibel level of an LRAD. I want to say gets above like 130 something, 137 decibels. I could be wrong. We're gonna have to look into that and see what kind of damage that can do to the human body. So
Could
so
probably
much to
burst
look,
eardrums.
so
for
much
sure.
to look into.
Wait a minute. You're telling me sound could fuck up a human body? Sorry
But
to
there's
cuss.
I need to dive into this more too. But there's been studies that have been done for the last 20 years on sound manipulation of cancer cells.
Oh.
If I remember correctly, they've been able to find a frequency. It's somewheres around 40,000 megahertz that will disintegrate cancer cells.
Damn.
Not sure how true it is, but
I'm gonna
Hey.
go ahead and say there's got to be some truth to it because this whole universe owes its existence to sound.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
like a sound. I can't remember the quote, and I'll come back with the quote on another podcast where the guy said, like, we strictly owe our existence to sound. It's a quote somewhere along those lines. I can't remember who said it. It was
I'm
in
still
it was in
diving in that hole.
It was in the cymatics video, but basically, in a sense, like our whole universe is held together with a cymatic frequency, which is kind of interesting because our last trip we got talking about sound, and there was one time on a trip where I was having a little meditation, and in this meditation, I was for a second God at the center of the universe, and this being, this God at the center of the, and I won't say universe, I'll say multi-dimensional multiverse, like it was 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, like 13 dimensions that I can't even explain. It was inside out, outside in, backwards, right side up, everything. But this DJ at the center of the universe, or this God, was literally on like a DJ turntable controller playing with knobs and buttons, and every time he would change a sound, it would change the multiverse. Like the sounds that this being was creating was controlling what was happening in this whole multiverse. It was a pretty interesting meditation to have. Very unique. I've only ever had something like that once, which ties into that whole idea, that quote, that we owe our existence to sound.
No, go ahead.
No, are you sure?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think sound is like so important too, because if I'm not mistaken, they can use sound to destroy kidney stones. It's like a vibrational thing that they do, if I remember
There's
right.
a lot of things that people have been doing with sound, but what is the standard tuning? Is it 421, 422?
432.
That's the standard musical frequency, 432.
430. I'm pretty sure 432 is what you're talking about.
That's also in my Flower Life book too.
No. That's so 430. What was it? 432 is one of the frequencies of the universe, but so is 536. So,
There's
in the 1920s,
there's quite a few different frequencies. Each one is almost supposed to match one of our chakras as well.
in the 1920s, there was a standard agreed upon around the world where the standard tuning frequencies for like human instruments and radio signals and stuff like that was set to like 419 or 420, where it's just a couple frequencies off of what would actually be in tuned with like natural
So I think you're talking about 432 and 440. They bumped it up to 440 hertz.
the standard frequency. Yep, that is the frequency that they used for like any kind of electronic devices and everything. It's tuned to 440. I think that's also what might cause like that little bit of white noise that you hear in the background of everything. I think it might be because it's tuned to 440.
Right here, what I got pulled up on Google right now, 432 hertz, the heartbeat of the earth.
Yeah, and that's the Earth
I've
vibrations.
also got pulled up these other healing frequencies. We got 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, 852, and 963. I'm going to go Google the solfeggio frequencies now.
The what?
The what? Solfeggio?
That's a weird word. Never heard of that one.
Definitely sounds like an Italian composer.
The solfeggio frequencies.
Yeah, we just kind of like dove into a couple different things.
That's how it's going to be.
Typically, we will have a specific topic that we try to cover. So if we have specific guests, we're gonna stick to their thing. Try to cover what they're doing, our knowledge based on it, what they're trying to do, give shout outs, anything like that. We will have deeper, more impactful conversations when it comes to certain cultural topics, some of which we're going to stay away from for now because they are very hot and hard to handle.
Intense.
And depending on certain people, they don't enjoy those conversations and they tend to get a little angry. So in the beginning, we're not trying to make anybody mad. We just want everybody to be willing to have the
Well, right here, man.
conversations.
If they're stressed out about the conversation, we'll just put on 174 hertz frequency. It helps relieve pain and stress.
You said
Kinda sounds like grounding
174?
technique.
174 hertz. So the 9 solfeggio frequencies are 174 hertz, 285, 396, 417, 528,
I've heard 528.
639, 741, 852, and 963.
Isn't when you go higher, though, the frequencies can make you go insane? I shouldn't say insane, but
I mean, I don't know about
It
that.
could probably have. But I've seen
I know when it comes to dubstep, you don't like the higher frequency stuff, like the higher pitch and frequency.
no, it's a
yeah.
turn off for me.
what was it, 538?
528.
528?
Yes.
I've had videos on YouTube that claim to like help sleep and they're set to the 528. But at the same time, it's hard for me to imagine that those are true frequencies when you're listening to it through an electronic device. That doesn't seem like you're going to get the actual frequency. I feel like if you're going to achieve frequency 528, it has to be from a natural source. If you're just listening to a
Like
claimed
a-
frequency through earbuds or something, it's not pure.
Like a crystal singing bowl. One of those. I've never actually played a crystal one, but apparently they sound even better than
The metal ones?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they made crystal
that
ones.
like
Oh,
the-
yes, but they're
the
expensive.
Oriental thing.
Well, no
is
shit,
the-
it's a crystal.
Yes,
Yeah,
got
we got
with
one.
the water in
the
it.
the bigger the bowl. Well, there's no water in it, but the bigger the bowl, the more expensive it's going to be.
I'll bring it in next time.
I have seen
Shit,
the
we'll start
ones where
every
they
podcast by
where they do put the water in it, and they'll ring around it at a certain speed, and it creates like,
Ripples.
formations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so man,
surprise.
we're gonna have to jot this topic down and do like a whole episode on
Sounds
Sound.
and cymatics.
solfeggio frequencies too. I mean, that's kind of what set off our last trip. We put on the cymatics music video by I can't remember the artist's name. I apologize. It's Nigel something, but if you just look up cymatics, it's such a great video.
I love watching the science videos on sound frequencies and things like that, where somebody will have just a sheet metal plate and they pour salt on it, and then they
This is how the whole
run
music,
like a violin string over it. So cool.
This is actually how the whole music video was done for this music video.
With
was
stuff like
where
that?
They have a speaker. They have I think it's called the Chladni plate where they do that.
Yep, and you can
there was
see how
There was
the
another one.
sounds
They had
form.
a hose over the subwoofer for the kick drum, and every time the kick drum would hit, you'd see
was
the
the
water,
water
like
move.
zigzag.
Oh yeah, I'd seen that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
flames would move.
So
and-
cool.
And the lightning
Yep,
too.
the flames, lights, everything. Or there's I can't remember what the liquid is called, but it's typically black and has kind of magnetic properties. But when you put it on a speaker like a subwoofer, it will actually start spikes.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cool stuff. But I've
I'd
seen
like
the
to
water
know-
one where they'll have like a subwoofer with the hose and the water just coming
Yep.
down, and it will start
Swirling.
spiraling. Absolutely, sound has such an impact on
I'd
our
like to know
world.
what frequencies my notes are on my Rav drum. I don't know if Russ has heard my Rav drum yet.
I haven't heard of your instruments.
Oh man, the Rav is so peaceful, man, and I plan on getting a hand pan. Hopefully by the end of October. That was my goal.
That's the bing ding ding.
Yeah, he's got
ding,
one
ding, ding, ding,
already.
ding.
Well, I've got a Rav Vast, which is a little different than the hand pans. The hand pans, I feel like sound a little better, but what I like about the Rav Vast is I feel like the notes hold longer, and you know if I get a loop station and I can record from both, I can literally make organic songs with that loop station, and I'm pretty pumped about it. But yeah, later on, remind me, I'll show you a video of the Rav.
Okay.
Yeah, thinking about sound is just absolutely insane too. Because the thing that crossed my mind when we were on our experience, even sound of voices, like this is sound, us talking, and like there's negative sound and there's positive sound. That's kind of what I was thinking about, and I feel like right now, in a sense, in society, there's a lot of negative sounds taking place, especially with music.
Fuck you. That's a very negative sound.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
I love you.
Sound is so
That's
a
like,
positive sound.
powerful.
It's one of those things where they actually did studies with dogs, how they don't actually understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, but it's the tone of voice in which you say it.
Yep.
So some people have done this where they'll be like, "Fuck you, you stupid
Oh, you
fucking
little dumb-
piece of shit," and the
little
dog will
dumb
act
bastard.
happy because of the expression and the tone of voice. But
you
reverse,
dumb
they'll
little
say,
bastard, you.
"I fucking love you, I fucking love you," and the dog will, because the way that they're picking up the energy and everything and the sound of your voice and the tone, they see it as like, "Oh no, I did something wrong."
Well, it's funny with dogs too. Dogs respond better with German language because it's so stern.
I think that's all languages. Have you ever seen the the dude that goes around to cats and starts saying "here, kitty, kitty" in that language?
No, I don't
Most
think so.
cats respond to the German. It's "Uchten, frichten, hachten, bacht," and most cats will be like, "Oh, that cat is German," and it's really, German language is crazy. But
Scary.
just think about human vocal cords. It's literally just two flaps
Mm-hmm.
in your throat, and it just goes like this. That's all it does.
Yeah, your
And
vocal
this
thing
is making noises. This makes words. It's just just that's wild.
That's
It's
insane.
absolutely wild.
our existence is just like magical. How we're just here too.
It has to be. Mm-hmm. It has to be.
The way everything's laid out.
I used
Amjad
to
hit
never
me-
think that, but after having children, for sure.
Amjad hit me with a good question yesterday. He said, "Where does your moral compass come from?" I said, "Mine comes kind of from my psychedelic experiences, the quote unquote light that I've seen and been absorbed into, and that's completely taken over my existence. I get my sense of morality and right and wrong from that, and I live by it." And he then hit me with a hypothetical. He said, "Okay, if you're in Meniere's or some grocery store and you see a $500 gift card for that store on the floor, are you keeping it or turning it into customer service?" I said, "Turning it into customer service. It's not mine."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the right
And
thing
he
to
said,
do.
for you to do something like that, there has to be a God. He said, there has to be a God for somebody to make that kind of moral decision.
I'd have to ask him about that.
I told him, I said, that's a pretty interesting conclusion, that you think that in order for people to have morality on such a level that there has to be some kind of God. And I kind of agree with that, because like I said to him, where my morality comes from mainly my psychedelic experiences, because I wasn't always the most moral person prior. I call that morality from God, because that light that I was completely enveloped by on some of these trips, I believe to be the energy of God, or the essence of what we as humans call God.
Well, just think about humans in general. Like, let's get down to the nitty gritty about humans. We are simply animals. We're smart animals, but we're animals. We have certain natures and desires. We are naturally selfish creatures. We are. We want the best that's for us, and if it helps others in the long run as well, that's good. That's a side effect. So, I do believe that kindness does need to be taught to a degree, and that's where moral frameworks from religions do come from. I think we've all heard the nurture versus nature.
Yep.
So it is human nature to want to survive. We
It's-
all do it, you know. We have a natural instinct to try and save our own lives when it comes to it. We all need to drink. We naturally know that we need to eat. We know that sleeping. We know that. But humans have this passion for gluttony, it feels like, where we overindulge in so many things,
Absolutely.
as to where when we have a moral framework, we become disciplined through that, make better choices, and help our communities better, where it makes everybody's life around us better. If you don't have morals that were either taught to you or you picked up along the way of your upbringing, when you see a wallet on the ground, you're just going to be like, "Oh, cool, I can eat tonight." Or if you have a moral framework, well, "Oh man, this person lost their wallet. they're not going to be able to pay their bills.
So a
oh
point-
no! So you look inside and call them up.
A point
Yeah.
that I
There
made.
has to be some kind of moral framework.
A point that I made yesterday too, though, after telling Amjad that I would, turn that into customer service, especially because if it's on the floor there and it's a $500 gift card, most likely the person who is going to use that is still in the store.
Yeah,
that they
somewhere.
dropped it in the store. But I also told him right now my life is in a decent enough place where I'm not struggling to eat.
Situational.
I told him situational things sometimes change things. Sometimes a rough situation can cause someone to act outside of their morals because they have to, as you stated earlier, survive. They're in a state of survival where someone could have found that, and if they hadn't eaten in a day or two and had no money and they just happened to see that,
Well,
Yeah.
especially too if say it was a gentleman, he's a father, he's got kids at home, he's got a wife at home. If they're starving, he's probably going to take it, which is understandable because they're struggling.
It's all one of those things where it's hard to judge people based on preliminary evidence of any given situation or circumstance. Like you never really know, but that's one of the keys to a moral compass is it gives you something to go by, where even if you're struggling, we've seen this in like cartoons and Hallmark shows and videos. Even if you're struggling as an individual and you find money on the ground, when you give that wallet back to a person, you don't know. They could be like, oh my God, thank you. Here's $40, $50, $60. Or the dream scenario where it happens to be like a multi-millionaire.
here,
They're
I don't
like,
need the
"You should come work with
$1,000.
me."
I don't need
Yeah.
the $1,000 that was in my wallet. You keep it. I just needed the ID and the credit card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it just is better to be a moral person because, for one, you're going to help somebody and not screw them over, even if for selfish needs. But it's just one of those things where religion, I was never really a religious person, but I'm starting to find it, or I want to explore it more because
Yeah.
I believe I have to. But I recognize that my morals were built on a framework of Christianity and Catholicism. I'm fine
But
with
see,
that.
that's what's crazy is I was raised a Catholic and yet still had no fucking morals. Like
Well, you were a
I
rebel.
I was a rebel, but still, it wasn't until my psychedelic experiences that I actually started to decide to have morals. Like I'm not saying I was completely moralless, but like I'm no saint. I've done things in my life that I'm not proud of.
That's
and I don't
all
think
people.
I deserve to
That's
be
all
forgiven.
people.
But
That's everybody.
I, of course, at the same time, I look back at things that I've done in my past, and
Yeah.
I look back and I'm disgusted at some of the things I've done. Of course, but that's because you have morals. But in the moment, you found weakness and you decided not to follow those morals.
I wonder though, like, and I don't want to completely blame psychedelics here and say that they did it for me, but I often wonder, would I look back on those situations with the same amount of disgust I have in myself had I not done the psychedelics? Because it was through the psychedelics where I really looked back on my life and had to be real with myself and call out all the shitty things I've done to people and even tell myself like this kind of shit is not okay. You can't do this to people. And almost in a sense what people would call a bad trip. It was, rough trips, feeling the feelings that I've made other people feel. And then by feeling those, realizing because I'm thinking about how I made people feel that way, understanding like, okay, it's not okay to make people feel this way ever.
No, yeah, I met Adam at his turning point. He was bald, wanted to be gangster when we first became friends, and like he's really transitioned into another person with these experiences.
For sure. See, so his was through psychedelics. Mine was having children and having, things happen to me that kicked my depression and really made me sit back and think about how I wanted to live my life. And I realized I need to stop doing certain things to people. Like, it's not healthy. It doesn't help anybody. I'm not making anybody my friends. And by listening to what I call my subconscious evil is I do have not a voice in my head, but I do conversate with myself.
Of course.
And he convinces me to do some pretty dumb shit sometimes. You know,
Dude,
when
I
you
feel you.
hype yourself
Feel
up,
you.
especially when you're talking to yourself, that little voice in your head will convince you to do the dumbest things
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because there's no consequence for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's none.
yeah,
There's
there
no
is.
consequence for him.
But there
it's
is
all on you.
consequences.
So
My
I
voice
think
be
I
like-
feel like that's the old I don't know what to call it, but the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
My intrusive thought voice be like, "Hey man, go buy a pound of cheese curds and eat the whole thing in one sitting,
Oh,
knowing you're lactose."
no, you're like,
You and I, sir, have very different intrusive thoughts. Mine are more.
I have a lot worse than that, but that's a
Okay.
good. That's a good example that can throw a little
So I was going to
comedy
say,
into the
most
situation.
men have intrusive thoughts that would end us in prison.
Oh my god,
Like,
I heard a hilarious one by this comedian the other day, and I'm
Was
real,
it Bill Burr's?
No, I'm real sad. I don't remember
I
his
love
name.
one of Bill Burr's.
I'm real sad I don't remember his name at the moment because it was the first time I've actually ever heard this gentleman. But when he was talking about intrusive thoughts and your baby's born, and the first time you're holding your baby and you're like, man, I wonder how far I could throw this baby.
See, I love one of Bill Burr's because he's just famous for this kind of stuff. But he's just
Hi.
like,
Real
you ever
quick, y'all
just-
got to be careful laughing into the mics because that was loud.
oh, my bad.
You ever just driving down the road and you're just like, all I have to do is go about 7 degrees, and it's like, on this wonderful day in sunny California, the worst possible accident ever on the freeway. And it's just, that's all it takes. 7 degrees and 7 degrees of turning a steering wheel, and all of a sudden you're driving down a sidewalk with like 40 people. And it's just like, no joke.
40 people on
That
the
is,
sidewalk?
but that's one of the things. Those are intrusive thoughts that people have.
Yeah.
Like to sit and say that you don't have intrusive thoughts or you've never thought of hurting somebody or doing something that you shouldn't do, I highly doubt it. I really, really doubt that you've never thought about doing something that you then said, wow, that's fucked up
Yeah.
to yourself.
Yep.
Like, I don't think you can be honest with anybody if you say that you've never thought of something like that. We all have. We're human beings.
Especially when there's 40 people on the sidewalk because that's 2,000 points. 50 points each. That's a lot
You
of
were
points.
waiting just to say that.
I was, man. I calculated that shit in my head. I was like, holy shit, man, that's 2,000 points. That's a lot of points.
That's
like a whole
we used
week's
to
worth of
joke
hitting
about
people.
stuff like that. But these are just parts of being human. This is human nature.
It's
Like,
part of the experience.
human
those
condition.
intrusive thoughts happen, and people talk about all the time. Don't let your intrusive thoughts win.
Well,
Guess what? People in history have.
It's exactly why I
And-
meditate before work because I get some of those bad thoughts when I'm driving. Like, oh, just T-bone this asshole who cut you off. Fuck them.
Yeah,
Fuck them.
we all get those. We all do.
Oh, drivers are just so bad. So I feel like I have to meditate before work so I don't go into full blown fucking road rage out there.
I should meditate before work sometimes because
It's helpful.
every once in a while, it's like I feel like it's it's at least once a year. I just wake up and choose violence for the day.
Just
Yeah,
ready
yeah.
to tell a
It's-
customer to fuck themselves. off.
Oh, it's
Yes,
just you
sir.
wake up like one day I'll just wake up and I'll be
Raging.
like, "Yep, today everybody can get it.
Today-
All these hands." I
Today's
don't
the
know what it
day,
is. It's
motherfucker.
like it's not like I had a bad dream or something. You just wake up and you're
Ready to go.
oh
ready.
God.
You're ready.
Fucking do it, boys.
It's rough. It's rough every once in a while.
Yeah, the meditating is very helpful, and I've only been disciplined and meditating more on a daily basis for actually like 6 months. Like I've had such great meditations on LSD. I haven't been disciplined enough to do it daily, and doing it more daily now. It's weird, you know, when you're laying on your back at night and you're about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden it feels like you fell back into your body.
You jolt.
You jolt because you fell back into your body. You ever get that feeling?
Everyone, yeah, we're just,
Yeah, so I'm getting to that point meditating. It's weird. I don't know how to get past it yet, and I'm embracing it because
that's kind of
I don't know
what
if
they
it's
call breaking the veil.
Yeah,
kinda, yeah. And it's a very weird experience. And the crazy thing is when it happens and I like fall back into my body or get that jolt feeling, it's almost like I have to start the whole meditation over because it was that powerful. So it's like I don't know how to get past that. If anyone watching meditates and knows how to get past that, let me know. I'm waiting to get another delivery to the Hindu temple here.
I was just gonna say.
because there's a gentleman that I've been talking to delivering pizza to at the Hindu temple.
There's a Hindu temple
Oh, that's
downtown.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to get some.
He wanted me to
some
go.
religious folks
Yeah,
over
he
here,
wanted me to go
for
check
sure.
it out sometime, and I've been waiting like 2 weeks now to see him and ask him this question about the falling while meditating because I know they meditate. I just haven't gotten a delivery to him in the last 2 weeks.
So I believe they've come to our Domino's before, and they're lovely people.
Oh, I
They
love-
really
yeah,
are.
yeah.
They're pretty awesome people.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely wanted to get theologians or religious figures on here and talked
Absolutely.
about their experiences.
Especially
could definitely
because
have
especially
that.
because the Hindu religion is still the oldest practiced religion in the world.
Well, my uncle.
Is it because
I'm pretty sure
Christianity?
Christianity is not
No,
as old.
no,
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Or Buddhism, Hinduism, that is like the oldest.
No, Buddhism's not even close.
No.
Buddhism wasn't practiced till thousands of years after. The
So what
Hindu
did they
religion
So
originally
was
wait,
call
what about
it?
Judaism?
I'm pretty sure the Hinduism is older than Judaism as well.
So
I'll
it
pull it
is
up right now.
Hinduism.
Either of you ever have sleep paralysis?
Where you can't move.
Yeah, where
Depends on-
you believe that you are awake, and yes, your body is like
That's
weighted
one
down by
I've
stones.
that's one I've never experienced.
I've only ever experienced it once, and this was very, very strange. I do want to talk about this in the future sometime again too, but I had an elderly uncle living with me, and he passed away in the apartment. And the next night after, first time it's ever happened, I was just laying there. I thought I was watching TV. I couldn't move, and I was like, "What is happening?" And then out of nowhere, "It's gonna be okay, Russ. It's all gonna be fine." In his voice. And I didn't talk about it ever before that.
You just probably had a true spiritual connection to the other side.
Very weird. But it was like when I've heard people talk about sleep paralysis, they talk about sleep paralysis demons, where it's like twisted, horrific figures that scare the hell out of them.
Usually, yeah.
As this was, I was just laying there and like I saw a figure, but I couldn't move my head, I couldn't move my eyes, nothing. But it just touched me on the shoulder and said, "Everything's going to be okay." I was like, wow, I don't know how to handle this. So it was strange, but it was one of those things where I got up immediately afterwards. So I was like, was I really awake for this? That really just happened? It's the only time something like that's ever happened. It shook me for like a week. And, I remember it every once in a while. It's something I definitely want to talk to probably a Catholic priest about because he was Catholic.
My uncle is Catholic, and they went to literally Italy to convert. Both my aunt and uncle. I can
They
see.
went to the Holy Roman Catholic Church.
My cousin Sarah
wow.
was actually born in Italy. Took her 9 years to become an actual American citizen here.
All right, so
Wow.
I've got pulled up the 8 oldest practiced religions.
Dope.
Shintoism.
Oh,
Japanese.
Yeah.
Shinto.
So that
Shinto
was
Japanese.
3rd century BCE to the 8th century CE.
okay.
And then we got Taoism.
I believe that's where seppuku came from.
And then we
Shinto.
got, and I'm quite fond of this one myself. I love the Tao Te Ching, Taoism, 6th to 4th century BCE. And then we got Buddhism, 6th to 5th century BCE. Confucianism, 6th to 5th century BCE. Jainism, 8th to 2nd century BCE. Judaism, 9th to 5th century BCE. Zoroastrianism, 10th to 5th century BCE. And then, of course, we've got Hinduism, 15th to 5th century BCE.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I had a feeling Zoroastrianism was going to be number 2 on there because I know that's very, very old. It's just not as practiced as Hinduism is today.
So, with your meditations, if I'm remembering what it's called correctly, in the Book of Life,
the Flower of Life.
Flower of Life book. So, do you practice the Merkaba breathing? That's
I
what
have
it's called?
no idea what that breathing is, if you want me to be
That
honest.
so
just-
it breaks
I just
it
do
down
my
in the
own-
second book.
Yeah.
I just do my own breathing.
There's a whole chapter in the second Flower of Life book where it goes through the whole process of like how to breathe and meditate.
Merkaba meditation.
It breaks
I
it
don't know, I
down.
just-
It's specific breathing.
I just
types.
listen to my body and do what my body says to do.
The main thing when it comes to meditation is conscious breathing.
Oh, yeah. I
Like
definitely-
just being aware of your breaths as you're breathing.
I definitely
in
do
and
a
breathing
kind
out.
of breathing in and out where I'm focused and, I get to a point, I hold, I let it
Let
out.
out.
I get to a point, I hold. It's just my cadence of breathing never seems to match any of these guided meditations.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I don't like the guided meditations.
I just rather listen to a certain song with certain frequencies and just like sit there and just be mindful about that.
So, wax. We're definitely going to have to do it on days that he's closed.
Yeah,
because
I can hear that badly
Right.
in here.
I
wanna-
don't know if the microphones probably won't pick it up, but it is
I'm sure-
distracting, and it
yeah.
will be distracting for when we have guests.
Yeah, so I apologize to any listeners out there.
Oh,
if
you're
you-
just going to edit this part out.
No, I don't want to edit anything out of the first one. I want people
No.
to
And I
see
just
all
look
of our
like an
mistakes,
idiot going,
man.
"Ah!"
That's okay though, man. Sometimes it's good to look like an idiot.
In public, sure.
I mean, all I got to do is switch the camera view away from you so it doesn't see you do that.
I guess.
But yeah, I do want to give a quick apology to anybody who's listening to this episode. There may be some sounds in the background. The shop we're recording at is open today. After today, we plan to try to record on days it's going to be closed, so we won't run into those issues.
And hopefully next time
Better
too, when
privacy.
we do
Yeah.
our next video, hopefully our decorations can be up so it looks all more
Yeah.
homey in here.
Hopefully,
so
I mean, I can
really
pop,
excited.
I can pop by here every day this weekend and just do small things. I mean, I'll be obviously editing this up throughout the weekend.
I did buy the wall anchors, so we have wall anchors, and
Sweet.
I don't know. All we have really is screws, but you just got to remember, because this is a commercial lot,
Mm-hmm.
commercial building, that the
What about command strips?
I don't know if that would hold my canvas up. I
Your
feel
canvases aren't that heavy.
they should.
Like, no, but that's kind of a big boy that I have there.
I mean, we're gonna have to put holes anyways to mount the TV up there.
Well, definitely.
So-
Oh my goodness.
But the support beams, it's all metal. You got to remember that, because this is a commercial. Any kind of support beam, it's steel.
Sweet deal.
Yeah. So we'll just have to make sure that we
Alright.
use the
So-
plastic anchors.
Is there anything else we want to talk about today before calling it quits on the day? Congratulations, guys. We got our first episode recorded.
First
finally. After doing a couple mock episodes, trying to get lighting right. And you know what? I hope this one isn't perfect. I want to see some mistakes that we can build on. Like,
Oh yeah, we're gonna see improvements over
yeah,
the next.
absolutely.
Well,
Well-
I hope that this happens and we continue this for years to come.
Well,
and you know, maybe for like the first 100 episodes, I'm gonna need the crowd's help deciding if they like the welcome
You don't.
to Through
You don't.
the Looking
You
Glass.
don't.
I think everybody wants to hear that.
No.
Welcome to Through the Looking Glass.
No, this isn't an after hours sultry.
oh my god, I keep doing it.
No,
I don't know. I like it.
you'll help us decide. I am completely against it. I am more for the, hey, welcome to the first episode, or welcome, join us.
Saw, dudes.
It's got to be, I believe it's got to be a little bit more uplifting, but we'll figure it out.
How
I
about
feel like it's too much extra sauce.
how about yay? Welcome to the show, bro.
How about
Too much? Too much?
how about we just not do any of all of that? Like, if we're gonna be crazy, just tell people to put the like button in a triangle choke or something.
Saw, dudes.
No, no.
We'll each probably just take turns with intros, and then you'll get what you get when it comes. But again, thank you for joining us. This is our first run. We hope that you enjoyed our conversation, and reach out to us if you want to come and talk about anything, really. So
We do like talking.
join us. We have 6 possible positions. So the 3 of us, we've got room for 3 more guests. We've got all the equipment that we need. It's simple. It's kind of fun, talking with people. Who needs to just do anything else except for talk with friends and try to connect with other people. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and spread it around. Tell your friends. Help us grow. Be a
Support
part
the-
of something.
Support the community.
Yeah, let's work together and try to do something bigger and better for all of us, really. So
Hell yeah. And now if you're done watching, fuck out of here.
No.
okay,
Yeah, fuck out of here. Nah, you guys can stay. You guys can stay. We like you guys.
we'll figure out. Just Give us your feedback, anything and everything.
Much love and light.
And thank you to anyone that tuned in to watch our first episode. I know it probably wasn't the greatest. We were kind of all over the place, but hey, we had to get
We'll
it.
dial it in.
We had to get it done and recorded and just uploaded, and that way, hey, cool. We created some content. Now we can get rocking and rolling.
For
Boom.
sure. All right.
All right.
Peace out.
Love and light.
Look at it.
So dramatic.